What's going on, guys? Episode 8 of the Left Field Mike Show. I think this is 8. Anyway, trying to give you a video once a week. We're going to see if we can do that. A lot of big things just happened in this previous week of the NBA, including the NBA draft lottery. I want to talk a little bit about that. Before we do, there is something I want to mention with a very, very heavy heart. Pancho Villa passed away. This man was a very prominent figure in Bills Mafia, one of the biggest Buffalo Bills fans known in the world. And my thoughts and prayers are with his family and all of his loved ones. Anybody that had the honor to meet him, I never met him. I wish I had. This is a man that we can all learn a life lesson from the way he lived his life. He fought hard. He never complained. He battled. He was a battle. He battled. He was a fighter, and he had such a great outlook on life. He knew that while he was fighting, he could inspire people, and he certainly did. And my thoughts and my prayers are with his family, all his loved ones. God bless you, Pancho Villa. Your legacy within Bills Mafia will certainly live on forever. Anyway, to the NBA we go. NBA draft lottery the other day. The New Orleans Pelicans landed that #1 pick, just like they did a few years back when they drafted Anthony Davis. How about that? And one of my friends was talking to me the other day, actually a few weeks ago, one of my best friends saying how, Mike, Knicks fans are delusional. And I thought about it, and you are 100% right. Because there are so many freaking delusional Knicks fans out there that just thought they were going to get that #1 pick, and now they get the 3rd pick and they're devastated. When do the Knicks get lucky? The Knicks don't get lucky. The Knicks, good things just don't really happen to the Knicks. You couldn't expect going into that draft trying to get that #1 pick. And guess what? There were teams that had worse picks that were awful this year. Like Phoenix, okay? Phoenix was very bad. They could have got the #1 pick. Chicago could have got the #1 pick. Didn't happen. But back to the Knicks and their delusional fans. I feel bad for the realistic Knicks fans. I have a lot of friends that are Knicks fans. I live in New York, of course. I'm a Nets fan. But there are a lot of Knicks fans out there that are just out of their minds. To the realistic Knicks fan, I sympathize for you. It's not easy watching a team lose pretty much every year for 20 years. Granted, they did have a few winning seasons. They made the playoffs with Melo. I remember they made the playoffs with Stoudemire. Got bumped quickly by my New Jersey Nets at the time. But to the realistic Knicks fan, I'm sorry. You live in the most marketable city in the United States. You play in the world's most famous arena, but you can't win games. And a large part of that is probably because you don't have the best owner in sports. And I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want this guy banning me for making YouTube videos the same way he bans people from going to the Garden because they don't like what they do, they have to say about him. So we'll leave that at that with James Dolan. But yes, I sympathize with the rational Knicks fan. I really do. Year in and year out, it's a bunch of disappointment. It's a bunch of misery. You bring in guys. It never really pans out. A couple years ago, they bring in Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose goes missing for a day. Next thing you know, you put on SportsCenter this year and you see him lighting it up for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So things like that just happen with the New York Knicks. Now, to the delusional Knicks fan, I have to laugh in your face because you guys all year, we're getting Zion, we're signing Kyrie, we're signing KD. But this isn't something that is just new, like years. I remember when CP3 was on the trading block. Oh, we're going to trade for CP3, or oh, we're going to sign CP3. Knicks fans do this stuff all the time. Oh, man. And I know some people are going to say, oh, Mike, you did this with Dwight Howard when it looked like he was going to the Nets. Look, it looked like Dwight really was coming to New Jersey at the time. So I don't even want to... I know somebody watching this video specifically is going to think that right now, and I'm going to try to stop that right there. But Knicks fans, enough with the delusion. Come on, man. Get a grip on life. Get a grip on reality here. You're probably not going to sign KD, okay? If KD wants to win games, he's staying in Golden State. And if KD wants to be the man, maybe he comes to New York, but there's a good shot he comes to Brooklyn. Because the difference between the Nets and the Knicks, the Nets are winning games. The Nets have a young core. He can play with Karras, one of his best friends. They work out together in the offseason. Come on. I don't see the appeal. Yes, play in the Garden. That's an appeal. I get it. Marketability, that's an appeal. But if KD wants to win games and add on to his legacy of winning championships, how can you do it with the Knicks, especially now? You're not getting Zion. Now, RJ is going to be a good player. He's not going to make the immediate impact that Zion would, and this is assuming they draft RJ, but I just don't see why everyone thinks it's set in stone, or not everyone, why the delusional Knicks fan thinks it's set in stone that KD's come to New York. I don't think it's happening. Now, you could land Kyrie. It's possible. The Nets were actually the betting favorites to land Kyrie, but I don't even think that, as a Net fan, I think I'd rather just keep D'Lo. You know, I don't think I want both of them playing together. I would certainly be excited to watch Kyrie if he does come to Brooklyn, but D'Lo is younger. You don't have the injury history that you do with Kyrie, and D'Lo, he hasn't hit his ceiling yet. You know, he's only going to get better. That's my opinion. Now, if Kyrie means you can land KD, that's a different story, but if it just means, if you're just giving me the option of the two, I might have to stick with D'Lo. Just based on the age, the youth, the injury, the lack of injury history, and the excitement that he could possibly get better as his career progresses. Kawhi is probably out the door in Toronto. There's a chance he stays. Them making the Eastern Conference Finals certainly helps their causes, but they're just not enough around him to really convince him to stay in Toronto. I think he wants to go to LA, probably a Clipper. I think Klay's out the door in Golden State. I read that he doesn't want to be. I read this, that he doesn't enjoy being the guy that plays behind all these stars. I mean, it could be a rumor, could be lies. There's a lot of garbage on the internet. Obviously, he would never come out and say that. Why would he? But if that's something he does think inside, internally, then you could see him going to another team. You could see him being the prominent number 2 on another team. He could even be a number 1 on certain teams, but if he wants to win, you're probably a number 2. I'm excited for free agency. June 30th, 6 p.m., that's when it's going to start. It's going to be great offseason. I cannot wait. But in terms of the regular season right now, the playoffs, Milwaukee is such an elite team. If you're a betting man, they covered last night against Toronto. Toronto played great. And the fact that Toronto found a way to lose that game, Milwaukee found a way to win that game, just speaks volumes to how good of a team Milwaukee is. Milwaukee only shot 25% from downtown, I believe. I think they missed over 33s, yet somehow won by 8 points after giving up a career night to Kyle Lowry. And Kawhi played great too. In the West, the Blazers were tremendous to get to this point, you know, beating OKC the way they did in round 1, beating Denver, including that Game 7 upset in Denver, a tough place to play. They found the way through, but I think their run ends here as Golden State is just the superior team. So you're looking at a Warriors-Bucks finals, as I said before. Hopefully the Bucks can win it. I'll be rooting for them. They have a shot, but on paper, it looks like the Warriors are poised to win another one. Anyway, that's it for me. Rate, comment, subscribe. Do what you got to do. I'm out of here. God bless you guys. Talk to you soon. KD to Brooklyn, hopefully.